What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Sunday analysis. Today is Sunday, December 17th, 2023. We're going to be looking at USDCAD once more, like we've been doing for the past few months now. And we're going to see what price did last week and what we anticipate price to do next week as well. So we're getting somewhere in the price action where things are starting to get a little bit more exciting, finally. So what do we see here? We see that we've been in a bullish trend since, May 2021. We've been bullish, and then once we hit this order block right here on the weekly time frame, we began to consolidate. Now, let's draw this out so we can see things in a more simple way. So here's a high, low, right here, we draw it out, and then this leg right here, what do we see this leg do? It swept the low of this entire range right here. So we keep that in mind. Sell side liquidity right here has been swept. Okay, now after it's swept, we look to the left to see what if we have any area of interest. When we look to the left, we see that there's a beautiful weekly order block, this right here. That is our area of interest. Now, after it tapped into this order block, what did price do? It made an impulsive move higher that shifted market structure. It changed the character of price action. Okay, so it was consolidating, swept sell side liquidity, and then broke market structure. Now, once we see this move right here, what we usually want to look for is a retracement into an imbalance or an order block or an area of interest where price could retrace back into and then, potentially give us an opportunity to look for a trade. So right here, what we usually like to see is a sweep of liquidity. Well, I'll show you. If we are consolidating after we make a range, let's say this is our range, and then we're still consolidating, and then we sweep the liquidity of this range, and then we shift in market structure higher, then we want to look for the retracement back into an order block or an imbalance or an area of interest to target our opposing liquidity, which is right here. Okay, so we have this sweep of liquidity, this shift in market structure, and then we have a pullback into an order block or an imbalance, and then we want to target the opposing liquidity, which in this case would be buy side. That's exactly what it did. So we have this liquidity sweep, this shift in market structure or change of character or break of structure, whatever you want to call it, and then we have this pullback into an area of interest. This is where we could look for some setups to target our next drawn liquidity, which in this case would be the opposing liquidity of the sell side, buy side right here. Okay, this is the same thing that we see here. Alright, let's have a look. So we have this high and this low. This becomes our range, and this low gets swept through. Now after it gets swept, look right here. It gets swept, lower high, lower low, higher high. So right here, we see a perfect example of what I just explained. And then we have an imbalance right here that price has yet to tap back into from this leg. So it went down like this. It didn't tap into our imbalance, which is, let's say, right about here. But it did create another higher high, and then it finally tapped into it right here. So this is what price did last week. It tapped into our weekly busy area of interest, which is this fair value gap right here. So we did tap into it. Now what I'm anticipating price to do next week is consolidate a little bit in this area. So let's talk about a little bit what we were looking at last week and what we anticipated price to do and what price did actually do. So last week we anticipated that price would tap into this 4-hour order block, point of interest. We wanted to see price respect it and then continue going higher. Did it do that? No. Price completely violated it. Why? Because on the higher time frame, we have this weekly imbalance that still needs to get rebalanced. Okay? So for on the daily time frame, this 4-hour order block, point of interest, is no longer valid because price clearly violated it. And once it violated it, it took out this daily range low. From this entire range, from this low to this high, this low has been taken, and then here we are in this weekly BISI. Now, I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I'm also going to take this out and take this out because we no longer need it since we already swept through the range. Now, since we're inside of this weekly BISI, this weekly fair value gap area of interest, what am I wanting to see? Okay, I'm wanting to see price go down, sweep sell side, tap into this order block right here, shift in market structure higher, pull back into an area of interest inside of this weekly BISI to continue going higher and take out this daily range high, which is our opposing liquidity in this situation. Okay, so that's what I want to see price doing. That's what I anticipate price to do. But before it does that, I could see price consolidating a little bit because next week, although we do have high impact news, we don't have as many high impact news like we did last week. Okay, last week we had CPI, we had PPI, we had all sorts of high impact news. This week we have CPI on Tuesday, I believe, and that's all the actual high impact news that I believe we have. But there's more throughout the week. But yeah, so this is what I'm anticipating price to do. Okay, I'm anticipating price to. Okay, so it made this down leg right here that swept this sell side liquidity, tapped into this weekly BISI. Again, I want to see price sweep sell side liquidity inside of this weekly BISI, retest this order block. Okay, this order block, because this is the order block that was responsible for this shift in market structure higher. This order block was responsible for the break of structure. So I'd like to see price retest this order block, then shift in market structure higher once more, then continue taking out this daily range high. So that's what I want to see price doing next week. All right, if it does respect this weekly BISI, then that's what we'll most likely see. However, we can't just hold our bias into one direction because we always have to keep in mind that price moves up, price moves down, and price consolidates. Okay, so it could do either of these three. So it could immediately reject, which I doubt it will do. It could immediately violate, or it could consolidate. Now, if I see it consolidate here a little bit, that would be nice. And then at the end of the consolidation, I want to see a sweep of liquidity, shift in market structure, retracement back to potentially look for some sort of entry like this and target the high right here. Alright, so that's what I'm anticipating price would do. But if it does violate this level right here, then we would look for our next drawn liquidity, which would be this low right here. Of course, we have liquidity pool right here, but I'm targeting the lowest low out of all these right here. So this is what we have for next week. Let's just wait and see what price does. I want to see how it reacts in this zone right here, this weekly BISI, point of interest. I want to see how it reacts in this level to determine whether we have an opportunity or not. If we do, we take it. If we don't take it. We don't need to chase anything. We don't need to be chasing trades. We don't need to be forcing trades. We want to be waiting for the most optimal trading opportunity to take so we can have an A+ trading setup. That's exactly what we want to look for. Okay? So again, just a quick recap. I want to see price consolidate a little bit, sweep sell side, retest this order block right here, which is my extreme area of interest, shift in market structure, retrace, and then continue going higher, taking out this daily range high. Okay, that's what I'd like to see price doing. But until next time, you guys have a good, safe rest of your day, and have a safe week.